in the case of our friend, and they say we're mostly water, right? Yeah. So, in the case of our friend, he's walking around. I want you to get this image. I mean, I know you already get it, but sometimes adding a few more sentences would be good. So, here's our friend walking around with an image of the dog. And as he walks along and he's got the image of the dog, he continues to stew and hate this dog. And there's these things that, your thoughts are molecular. Do you know that there are neuropeptides associated with every thought that we think, and that if we think a thought like hate, we start to release the chemistry of hate into our body. Pretty soon our friend was walking around like this, and he couldn't see anymore. He was seeing through the world through a glass darkly, and he was seeing the world through a filter of hostility and fear. And he went on and bought fireworks. Now, if he had paid attention a little bit more, I don't want to get any food down. So, if he had paid attention to what Yeshua said and prayed for the person or the dog that he hated, a different chemical thing would have happened in his body. He would have had the upset. He would have thought of the dog that bit him. And he would have walked around and actually, not would have, he did. Once he learned some truth principles, he walked around making an image of the same dog. Except this time, he said, he invited the love of God to the dog. He invited the love of God through his energy system and blessed who?
Himself.
And he blessed himself, and he said, please bless this dog. Please bless this dog. I know it's your creation. Please send love to this dog. And pretty soon, he had a green light, and he started to go forward in his spiritual progress instead of being stopped. Red, green, that's traffic. So that's this works all over the place. Let's say you have an issue with abundance, material abundance, for example. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for him, I mean, how many times do you go to church and they say pray for Donald Trump, right? Because remember something. How many Donald Trumps do we have in the room with us? As many as there are people here. And then there's another one out there running around saying silly things. Let's say that what we're doing here, we hear about projection of the mind as the trick of the mind of projection and denial, right? What we're doing here, what Yeshua invited us to do here, is instead of being beat up and using that and having projection and denial be something that just brings us down, use that law of the mind, use that trick of the mind to our benefit. Pray for those who hate us. Heal yourself. Pray for those who push your buttons. Reprogram your buttons. Because you're essentially inviting the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of love, and the Spirit of healing into your system. And you're reprogramming your buttons as you pray for that person who tends to push them. Let's say your neighbor or your sister comes home with a brand new Mercedes, and if you've got this issue with material abundance, they've got their brand new Mercedes and the perfect husband and kids, and she tells you she's going to be on TV tonight for being the most awesome person in town. And you want to be happy for her, but you're judging yourself because you're saying, why am I, blah, 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 blah. And you could pray for her. Not fix her. Pray for her. Pray for her as she is, that she enjoys those blessings, that she receives those blessings. Now, what's that going to do for you? If you're in the presence of a real spiritual teacher, the benefits will always accrue to you. It's not about being on a good list or a bad list. It's about practicality. It's about having the benefits of the teaching accrue to you. As we look at our building fund, drive by the most beautiful churches around this community and pray for those people in those churches that they're enjoying their home, that they're enjoying their building, that they're loving their building, that they're just using it in the best possible ways, and pray for them. Send it out there that they are just loving that building and they're using it in the ways that we wish we could use one. See what that does to our thoughts of lack and limitation about having our own building. I might do it on time. Okay.
You have all the time you need.
Thank you. It is, as I mentioned, when we pray for them, the key is not to fix them. We're not to make them good in changing them to meet our approval. But we pray for them as we are. We send them love even as we see them breaking our rules. As he said so beautifully, the cords that bind us. So we're trying to unleash and untie the cords that bind us to them. So we don't want to, if we say, God, please help that person who cut me off in traffic to learn to drive better, and help them feel really sorry for what they did to me, you won't get the maximum benefit. In Aramaic, the word for forgive is shabag. It means to let go or untie, as Arif said. It refers to the goals we have in our mind for how it should be. So to be accurate, Yeshua never said to forgive anybody. He never said to forgive yourself. He said forgive as to another, meaning to let go of our goals for another person, for how we think they should be. If somebody's saying to you that Unity Church is blah, 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 and you should be in this church and it should be in our church is the best, pray that they get the most out of their church. Pray that they receive the healing and abundance that they seek in their church. See what that does for you. I don't need to say that. So let's talk a little bit about Yeshua. What did he offer us? I chose this topic because I think it opens the space to talk a lot about Yeshua. He's not your school principal. He's not there to tell you how to be good and not be bad. He's there to tell you how to live in the world of universal law and how to create happiness and well-being as a human being and how to live in the love that he lived in. And, these questions of what he had to say. For a long time I had a serious problem with the exploration. I can't believe I'm going to say this. For a long time I had a real serious problem with this exploration of who Yeshua is. And part of me still does. In fact, I even had trouble calling him Yeshua because I felt like I was somehow being disloyal in some way to the tribe that I had grown up in. That his name really wasn't Yeshua, it was Jesus. And I thought, what am I doing calling him Yeshua? Well, that was his name, so it's not really a big deal. But it's because I'm working through the healing of a disorder. I have a disorder, and I think it's fairly common, but very few people know about it. In fact, I can count the people who know about it on one hand because I made it up. It's called RTSD, Religious Traumatic Stress Disorder. It's a disorder that keeps many of us from, even the most accomplished of us, from questioning. It keeps us from exploring things in a way that will liberate us and empower us. Now, when I think of, wait a minute. Essentially what we've done is we've just teach these, we've taught our kids to be so afraid of God and life, and in our world. We've got this idea that there's people out to get us because a long time ago we were taught that God is out to get us. And maybe that isn't your experience. Maybe that wasn't taught to you as a child. Maybe you didn't go through the whole heaven and hell thing as a child. But they said scripturally that the sins of the father go back, until 4 generations. And what they're talking about there is genetics. Genetic memory. Genes are nothing but memories in crystallized form. So you've got this memory of this fearful, scary God. And so it's no wonder that people have trouble questioning their religious precepts because the stakes are so high. If you don't think correctly, eternity is a really long time for excessive heat. And if I believe incorrectly or think incorrectly and that's the result, I'm going to be afraid to question anything. I might even get hostile towards people who do. I might even want to condemn them to hell because I just can't deal with the pain I have deep down inside. It happens. It happens in families. And, when I think of spirituality, I think of wide open space and freedom and love and wonder, exploring this wild terrain of any possibility, under the sun, behind the sun, on top of the sun, inside the sun, just this freedom to explore and play and practice. When I think of science, I think of rigidity and rules, and we have to have the beaker clean and the test tubes clean and scientific method, and there's kind of this uptight framework of proof and evidence and how things need to go. Now let's look at what we've done in our culture. We have so many churches, and these could be our spiritual laboratories. They could be playgrounds where we heal and play together with possibility. And I got to tell you, some of the times when I've felt the most mentally manacled and locked down have been when I was in a church practicing a religion. And I've seen this in myself and others as well. And what have we done? We've ceded the fun and the creativity to the scientists. They're the ones having all the fun. They get to ask any question they want, test it out, try it. And they're the ones having all the fun. When in the realm of spirituality, we're afraid to question stuff. How much sense does that make? That's religious traumatic stress disorder. Today, I'm not really going for agreement. I'm going for application. Any good sales pitch has a call to action. And my vision is I want long lines at our prayer chaplains every Sunday.
Amen. Amen.
I want them tired. No, it might actually give them more energy. Who knows?
That gives you more energy.
Pick. You don't need to say anything to them. They know what they're doing. Our prayer chaplains are quite good. They know what they're doing. You don't need to say a word to them. Just say the person's name. Person's name or the institution's name, or the candidate's name. And let them speak a prayer for that person, and just follow along with what they say. Pick a sentence or two, make it your own. Repeat it to yourself, and go through your week with it, and then let me know if anything happens. Come to me at the church and say, hey, I tried this, and here's what happened, because I really want to know. This can change your life forever. It's one of the most powerful healing modalities that I'm aware of. And you don't need to know a lot about forgiveness. You don't need to know about the Aramaic. All you got to do is pray for the people you don't like. It's easy. And it's not easy. It's simple. It's not always easy. And then one last phrase, and I'm just about done. Where's my prayer? So one last phrase that Yeshua, or that was said scripturally, was, hey, even the tax collectors pray for people that they love, right? Why don't, if you really want to follow my teaching, pray for those who hate you, those who despitefully use you. So what he was saying there was not like, again, it wasn't about being judgmental of good people and bad people. What he's saying is, even the people that don't give a hoot about my teaching, pray for the people that they love. They don't give a hoot about healing, they still pray for the people that they love. If you want to heal, I've got this powerful medicine. It's only $3.99 a bottle. No, I got this powerful medicine. If you want to apply it to the parts of your skin that are already fine and healthy and good, go for it. Fine, go ahead and do it. But you're not getting the benefit of the medicine. You've got this gaping wound up here, which is the energy that you hold with people you don't like, and you're only putting the medicine on the areas where you're already healthy. If you want to use the medicine and pray, you put it where it hurts. You put it on the wounds that you have in your body, and then you get the maximum benefit. You get the healing and the benefit to you. God bless you.